Loaded edition of Miami Dolphins Today here. We are talking cornerback. Should Miami go out and sign a former first-round pick in NFL free agency? That name may surprise you, but people are talking about it. Plus, ESPN labeled Asante Samuel Jr. as a ideal fit for the Miami Dolphins. Actually, the best fit. We'll talk all about that. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're inching closer and closer to a massive milestone of 70K. But with 38 subscribers away from 69,900, hit that sub button for daily Dolphins content. We talk about news, rumors, and we're a family looking to grow. All right, that name that we talked about, former first-rounder, how about Damon Arnette, the former 2020 first-round pick out of Ohio State by the Las Vegas Raiders? He has been playing for the Houston Roughnecks in the UFL this past year and has played relatively solid and has garnered interest around the league. And Alain Poupart, who covers the Miami Dolphins, has been covering Miami for a very long time throughout the idea of bringing in Arnette. If you remember, he was actually with the Miami Dolphins in the past. He was on the practice squad in 2021 to end that season after being released by the Las Vegas Raiders. Ended up not staying around, got picked up by the Chiefs, and then was released again due to legal issues and has been out of football until this past 2025 UFL season. And that's kind of where. Let's remember the people who Damon Arnette actually is here. Remember, he was that first-round pick, 20th overall out of Ohio State, a highly touted prospect. He currently just played this past season for the Houston Roughnecks. And the reason why he was out of football since 2021, I mean, he has not played football since 2021 in the National Football League because he has had so many different run-ins with the laws, and he had to deal with drug possessions and firearm, and he's just been having a constant battle, but he has said he has turned the corner. Now, you have to look at his lengthy history because if you're going to sign him and take the chance on him, you have to feel pretty darn confident that he is not going to be a distraction off the field and bring unwanted attention to your locker room. But you see the history he's had with the police and the law. He had firearms and made threats in November of 2021, which is why he got released by the Raiders in the first place. Then he's been arrested 3 times over the last 4 years on assault, possession of drugs, firearms. It just has not been good for Damon Arnette. He's had, at best, a questionable history. But as he is getting older, he said that he has turned things around and been more coachable and more of a professional, which may lead teams to check back in on the former first-rounder. Well, Arnette, because he's been playing so well, was asked what has turned around for him. He said that with coaches, I feel like I proved a complete turnaround. All the coaches that have been with me right now, I feel like their words would be more valuable because I've said a lot of things in the past. What I would say is what they see on film. That's me being out of commission for 3 years. I'm a dog on the field. I'm more of a professional now than I ever was before. I wasn't a professional before. I was just a dog. I found professionalism and a calm state of mind. I feel like I'm the best version of myself that I've ever been. Well, if he feels that way and other teams check the box on that, maybe he does get another chance in the NFL. And I want to know, do you want that to be with the Miami Dolphins? Would you sign the former first-round pick Damon Arnette? It's today's pinned comment. Get hit with the YouTube ad break. Scroll down, let it play, and answer the question. Type Y for yes or type N for no. It's a tough call, but I got to be honest, I lean yes. If you feel solid about him not being a problem off the field, why not take the flyer? He was not released by the Las Vegas Raiders because he was bad at football. He was released because he was immature, had a ton of legal issues off the field, and the Raiders didn't want to deal with that, which is completely understandable. But when he's on the field, he looked pretty solid to start his career. And if you look at what he has done now, he is 28, will be 29 around the season's time. He played relatively good in the UFL. 169 cover snaps, allowed less than a 50% completion percentage. It was actually 10 for 21 to be exact. Only 1 touchdown, a QB rating when targeted of 69.3, allowed 10 catches, 159 yards, so 15.9 yards per catch. Now, I do want to make this very, very clear. It is the UFL. He's not playing elite players. We're dealing with quarterbacks like Max Duggan for example. No shame in Max Duggan, but like these guys are not good over in the UFL. The best wide receiver in the league is Hakeem Butler. So I want that to be clear. You look at the stats, I don't think you should be taking that with a grain of salt. But the truth is this, and we talk a lot about it in the offseason. The corners in Miami are brutal, man. It's just really, really bad. And you can basically cross Jalen Ramsey off this list because he's not going to be here by the time training camp rolls around in mid and late July. So you have to find a way to replace Ramsey. Is Damon Arnette going to be that guy? No. But the point of talking about Arnette and what we will say about Asante Samuel Jr. here in just a second is that with Ramsey likely off the roster over the next month, you cannot rely on Cam Smith, Storm Duck, Ethan Bonner, James Marshall Jr., and Kader Kohu to man that corner room. You have to add dudes. And if Arnette, you believe that he can at least maybe be a depth end of the rotation cornerback guy, you aren't giving him a big contract. You're giving him like a futures deal, like a tryout basis. And like I mentioned, if you like what you see on the field, you like what you see in the building, maybe there is a chance Arnette could become a valuable piece for you. It's unlikely, but I wanted to talk about it since he was generating buzz around the NFL, and Allen threw the idea out there earlier this morning. All right, before we move over to Asante Samuel Jr., I got to tell everyone about Mando, the whole body deodorant that I just can't get enough of. And as the weather continues to heat up, I'm outside all the time. I'm golfing, I'm playing basketballs, and I look forward to it even more because I've started using Mando whole body deodorant because unlike other brands I've tried, it can actually handle anything. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average grundle odor level, 0 out of 10. The starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products to your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And the favorite product they have that I use nonstop is their deodorant wipes. It's so perfect for on the go. And for Memorial Day weekend, I'm traveling. I'm going to Virginia after that. I'll be bringing these deodorant wipes because if I ever need a quick freshen up, that's the product that I trust to make sure I'm not the stinky person in the room. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Let's segue over to Asante Samuel Jr., who is a player that we have talked about ad nauseum this offseason as someone the Dolphins could target in free agency. And before the free agency period even opened up in early March, we were asked about signing Asante Samuel Jr. I said I'd love to, but I thought he was going to get a contract that was going to just be too expensive for the Miami Dolphins. But ultimately, injury concern leaves him still on the table, and now he is in the grasp of the Dolphins if they so choose to. Well, Matt Bowen of ESPN labeled the Dolphins as the best fit for Samuel Jr. He said that when healthy, Samuel has playmaking mentality at cornerback and uses sudden closing speed to break on the ball. That fits in a Miami defense that played cover 2 on 27.3% of opponent dropbacks last season, the 4th most in the league. Samuel has the traits to pattern match in man 2. A shoulder injury limited him to 4 games in 2024, but Samuel had 6 interceptions and 26 pass breakups in 4 seasons with the Chargers. I've talked about how much I want to sign Asante Samuel Jr., and to me, it just makes so much sense. I know a lot of fans are going to be, well, he's injured, and I don't want any more injury-prone players in Miami. We just deal with so many, and I understand that. But with where the roster is now, with the cornerback need so desperate, and you look at some of the players still available in free agency at corner, there's some solid guys, but there aren't with any of the upside of Asante Samuel Jr. because when he stays on the field, he is absolutely elite. And I wanted to look back at his 2023 campaign because he did only play a handful of games last season, but he played pretty much almost a full year in 2023, and in coverage, he was excellent in man coverage. He talked about, Matt Bowen that is, how good he can be in a zone coverage scheme that Miami runs and Anthony Weaver loves to use. And yeah, he can play in his zone coverage scheme, but he can also be versatile and just get up in your grill and play good man coverage. And that's the fascinating part about Asante Samuel Jr. He's not the biggest guy. He's only about 5'10" and change, barely over 200 pounds. So it's not like he's long. It's not like he's a big corner, but he's physical. And when he gets his hands on you, he really jams you up and disrupts your route running ability, which makes him a good man cover corner. And with the Dolphins scheme, yes, it does run a lot of zone, but they're so like multiple, if you will. Like they'll bring a corner blitz at times with Cater Cole, with Jalen Ramsey. They'll go back to a cover 2. They'll go to cover 3. They'll play man-to-man. They'll go cover 0. Like, I love the way Anthony Weaver mixes up his looks, and Asante Samuel Jr. is just so good at playing in different schemes and systems to where I think he would be a home run fit in Miami. And yes, I know the injury concern is there, but at this point in the offseason, he's going to get a cheap contract. Why not take the high-reward type of free agent with really minimal risk because you're not going to pay him that much money? Are you with me? Do you want to take Chris Grier's job and sign Asante Samuel Jr. like I would? Well, if you are with me, type S for sign. If you are someone who is just scared a little bit by the injuries, type P for pass. And I did want to showcase that injury kind of update again. We talked about this last week on a show, but want to revisit this. Jeremy Fowler last week talked about the timeline with Samuel Jr., who had another neck surgery in April, but is going to be having a checkup in July, and that's likely when he'll get signed. Training camp begins at the end of July, mid-July, and I would imagine that Asante Samuel Jr., when he gets that early checkup in the first couple weeks of July, if he gets the go-ahead, he gets the green light, that's probably when he will be signed. So if you want to sign Samuel Jr., you probably will have to do it in July. And as I've continued to say here, I know it's a gamble, but there isn't a better player when healthy on the free agent market when it comes to corners. Like, there's good guys out there. Rasul Douglas, Stephon Gilmore, Mike Hilton, James Bradbury, Asante Samuel Jr., Shaquille Griffin. All these guys remain unsigned still. If I were in charge of the Fins, I would probably up my offer a little bit to Rasul Douglas because it's been reported that they offered him a deal after he visited Dolphins headquarters and they did not agree to anything, and he's still out there visiting the Seattle Seahawks and other teams. I would up my offer, I'd bring in Rasul Douglas, and then I'd trade Jalen Ramsey because it's ultimately going to happen, and I'll bring in Asante Samuel Jr. in July. Samuel, Douglas, Cam Smith, Storm Duck, Jason Marshall Jr., Ethan Bonner, Cater Kohu. That's still not elite. It's still not even probably above average or average, but it's not a bottom 5 corner room in the NFL. So why not take advantage of a player of Samuel Jr.'s caliber kind of slipping due to his injury history? We'll still be here every step of the way this offseason. So if you want daily Dolphins coverage, and if the Dolphins sign any player, we will have you covered with a video. So join the channel today.